Get ready for Alien. That's right. So this, uh, graphic novel is very old. I'm sure you can get it somewhere. Probably Dark Horse got this, but now, of course, they don't have. Yeah, that's right. It's a. I don't know if Marvel did a reprint of this because they basically have the license, being a Disney company, to do any future Alien comics. And maybe they are. I mean, the most recent was Aliens versus the Avengers, which I do need to check that out. I heard it was not bad because typically out of continuity comic books from the main big two comic companies do much better than their regular ones. But this is very, very old. You can see I've read it a lot. And so there you have the cover with the giant alien. Heavy Metal published this. And they would do that often. They would have, books on the side. I don't know that this. Maybe it was serialized in the regular magazine. They did do a serialized version of Outland, and so they may have done this too. I don't remember, but here we have Archie Goodwin and Walter Simonson doing the art. Archie Goodwin writing it. From as it says, based on 20th Century Fox's science fiction hit Alien. So there you go. And there's the Nostromo, being entangled in the word alien. So there we go. Hey, remember this guy? You sure do. So being on the page, some black and white art of what you will see in the story, and then all these cool designs that Giger brought to the the movie, and it's just really cool for the logo there, and then basically the opening is in the comic book is similar to the movie. The ship is all dormant and dead as the crew are in hibernation, and then suddenly the computer comes to life and starts activating everything as it does in the film. Of course, the film gave you more of a tour of the ship. The comic doesn't really do that much with that, but the scene is, of course, the new orders are what's coming in. Ordinarily, they had gotten their payload and they were supposed to head back to Earth, which was going to take years, but that's what they were going to do. Suddenly, they get interrupted because Wayland picked up the signal from the engineer ship that we now know is an engineer ship to send them there, of course. So same thing. Here's the hibernation chamber. They wake up. They go to the main, living room of the ship and have breakfast. And they're like, man, we're finally getting home. And then, oh, you're not. So Dallas, of course, gets the message and he's like, oh, crap. So here you get the view of. Now, Nostromo, of course, is, a smaller vessel, but they've got this ginormous complex, carrying oil and I forget all what they were hauling. And it's just like a damn giant city in space. But the actual ship they occupy is this little thing at the bottom there. But it runs it. So that kind of puts it into, it's like you can think of it as a freighter in space, sure. But at the same time, it's kind of like they're truck drivers in space, where the actual vehicle that operates everything can detach from it. And so it's like the trailer of a big rig just sits out there. But without the actual ship pulling it, it's not going to go anywhere, So, Dallas delivers the bad news, and then they listen in on the strange alien signal, and it's this bizarre. They're all kind of freaked out by it. which was their first warning. Oh boy. So now they're really getting into the story. They decide to announce the illustrated story. Well, I know, but that's so very much, for the most part, step by step. Uh, a lot of the alien movies are dark, so some kind of got lost in it, but you can see more of the. This is pretty accurate when you look at the behind the scenes models and stuff. So they obviously had access to it to do this adaptation, and so there's Nostromo breaking away from the rest of its ship, and they land on the planet. Uh, Unlike the Enterprise, they don't have a transporter room, so they got to just land on it. And of course, oh no, it's a little rough, so they got problems they got to deal with. The the working crew kind of just makes up a story that it's going to take longer than it needs to because they're a-holes and they want more pay and whatnot. so uh so uh the same thing, the guys take off to go see what the signal is. Ash and Ripley are monitoring all this, and they do capture a bit of the scenes here and there that you saw in their spacesuits and whatnot. A lot of Alien is, and it's interesting when they try to go back to this as they are now, was the aesthetic, which Alien Earth did a fairly good job. They did a better job certainly than Prometheus, which really didn't even try, and a better job than Romulus. But Romulus did a better job than Prometheus. So progression, as you go, and so you take what you could get here. But the thing of it is the Nostromo already looked really aged. Uh, to some extent, Star Wars did that. A lot of things look filthy and dirty and junky and like it had been in use for a long time. It's deliberate because that's what they want to evoke with it. And even in this, some of their spacesuits look, really old and stuff. A lot of sci-fi films and stuff, especially like even in Space Odyssey 2001, they all were bright and new because they were. So it made sense. And that's like you get the feeling here that Nostromo's been used quite a bit. It's got some years on it. And especially since it's going to be out in space for a lot of years because that's how long it takes them to travel that. So it stands to reason, but it's just been that way. So it's an interesting look for it. Speaking of age, oh boy, this thing also looked very old. Now, here in the comic book, you get a much better view of the uh, real alien ship here, which we now know is the engineer's ship. That's just a bizarre shape to it. I think this was H.R. Giger's also his design of see what shapes should you go for with an alien spaceship. In the old days, it was always a flying saucer or something like that. Here, he went with something that's akin to a bone, which fits in with the aesthetic of Alien overall. So, and down here at the bottom, you see the Nostromo crew coming upon it, and that's how small they are to the alien ship. But you get a better look at. You do make out the shape and whatnot in the movie, but here it's almost like bright day for what I'm not sure why, but that's the approach they did that Walter Simonson did for the comic book here. And so, of course, you get in, and oh boy, all the interior and that weird look, which takes on a lot of the aspects of bodies and skeletons just over and over again through all this, which evokes the ultimate fear here of this parasitic infestation that the victims will suffer here. Either you get outright consumed by the monster, or like what happens to John Hurt's character, you get impregnated by that damn face hugger and all that. So finally, here's the space jockey, which after Aliens, you had Alien and Aliens, and this was the one thing that Ridley Scott was absolutely right about when there were all these other sequels to Alien. He said, like, why not explore the space jockey? And that's what he did with Prometheus. And I was a little bit let down by it, but I understood, at least initially, of, you got to look for another story to tell. You can't just do the same story, which essentially is what Alien 3 did. Oh, she's on this prison, and yeah, they're trapped. There's an alien loose, and they got to fight it to survive. You already did that. It's just now it's in this abandoned prison or whatever. Whereas the space jockey, the mystery of it, who was that, and all of that, what happened here, and ultimately Prometheus is the one who more or less tells the story. But probably a more interesting thing would have been after Aliens, something goes wrong with the ship and they crash back on the planet. Now, of course, they nuked the colony at the end of Aliens, but the rest of the planet's still there. So, and stands to reason, because of the distance and with the deleted scenes from Aliens, that Newt's family found this ship, and well, same thing happened to her dad. He got face hugged and all that. So that ship's still there. So Ripley, and you could have Ripley, Newt, and damn, what was his name? Michael Bihn's character. They survive, and they're on there, and they got half a bishop. Good enough. And that could have played out as a third film, and they just you got to come up with the idea. What is the space jockey? And I guess if it's engineer, all that sort of thing. But really, really don't like the idea that space jockeys are God and the xenomorph is our cousin. I mean, that's what Ridley Scott planned and all that. Okay, but nevertheless, it is the approach that should have been sought out, because otherwise they just kept repeating. They would come up with a certain scenario that wouldn't really enough to justify it. Ultimately, yes, they're going to be chased by xenomorphs again and all that sort of stuff. But the space jockey story could have been fleshed out. And there you have a solid trilogy, provided you can sell it and come up with an interesting narrative concerning the revelation of the space jockey and all that. And then you have a better movie than what they did. And that would pretty much probably end it there. But that's not what they did. So anywho, so they discover him, and oh no, his chest is ruptured. I wonder how that happened. Hey, it looks like it came out from within. Oh boy. Well, heartburn can do that sometimes. So more of the scale depicted here to see the eggs. Hey, this is cool. Let me get a closer look. And then, oh no, so, and then the final panel goes black, trying to recapture that scene. Oh, you're in trouble now. So, yeah, they're bringing him back to the ship, and they want to come in. Same thing. Ripley's like, hey, wait a minute. And Kitty Cat agrees, And he's like, yeah, don't let him in here. I don't know. He's got something in him. So, of course, Ash, being the traitor, lets them in. And, what's this? Well, he's got sleep apnea, and that's his CPAP. No, it's something else entirely. So, of course, the whole thing, the acid comes out. So, hey, it's got acid for blood, so you don't dare try to kill it, all that. And like, man, I don't know what to do with this. And of course, right off the bat, the crew was saying, just freeze him, which kind of wondered, had they gotten that point, couldn't they have done that, and would that have averted the disaster that happens? They would have gotten back to Earth, and Wayland Yutani would have their specimen. But as things would go, they're exploring it and whatnot, and they're probably headed in that direction, that they were just going to go back into hibernation, freeze. Damn, why am I forgetting John Hurt's character? He's like pivotal to it. But so they would have done that and all that, but he recovers soon. And so they go, oh, well, he seems like he's okay, and then so here's the ship blasting off to head back. And there you see it attach to the overall, rig, and off they go, and it blows a big blast out of its ass. And this pushes them forward back to Earth. So they have another chit chat in the living room at the dinner table, like all families. And then they say, oh, look, there he is. Kane. Yeah, there he is. Kane woke up, and they're saying, oh, cool. And they said, hey, Kane, we're heading back. We're getting ready to go back to hibernation. And he says, yeah, but I want to eat. Hey, good idea. Let's have the last supper, as it were, before they head back home. And then, of course, come on, man, the food ain't that bad. Oh, it is. That don't look good. And then, oh no, oh jeez, congratulations, it's a monster. So they're all pretty horrified. Plus, you got to understand, they just ate, so of course they're all about to puke. And little baby alien takes off, scurries away, and they think, oh wait, we can't go to bed with that thing running around. So they got to go hunt it down. So they come up with some weapons and whatnot. Well, gee, we know how that works. And of course, the stupid cat gives them a scare, and like, oh damn, it was just Kitty. And of course, Kitty could have hunted down the alien, but had he ever, got a grip of it in his mouth and bit down, well, you know what that means. Poor Kitty would, have his whole skull burned off from the acid. So we wouldn't want that. Jones the cat is the real sole survivor of the Nostromo. Sure, Ripley survives for a bit, but I mean, unless you still count Alien 3, which I tend not to. So maybe she's still all right. Anyway, but Jones, he's back on Earth living in her apartment. Of course, he doesn't have a job or anything. I don't know if Jones inherits her, whatever money she had saved up, her retirement or something. Huh. That could be a problem. But yeah, he didn't go back to go fight the aliens with Ripley. He said, screw that. So anyway, oh no, the cat got this poor bastard killed. And he's like, holy crap, it's bigger than I remember it. And then he pokes him on the back saying, hey, buddy, over here. Oh, well. So he's lunch. So now they're all upset. Oh, no, we got a problem. So they got to go look for it. So Dallas, he's the captain. And he's like, well, I guess it's up to me to go through these little air-conditioned vents. Oh, boy, it had to be me crawling around in the dark. Oh, yeah, that'll work out. And he's going along, and gee, is it going to work? And then they notice, oh, wait, it's right on top of you. No, not that way. And of course, yeah, peekaboo. And so that's it for Dallas. Of course, in the deleted scenes and whatnot, he was taken to the nest. Yeah. And he begged Ripley to kill him, which she did. It also seems to suggest Dallas and Ripley had a thing, I mean, look, it's lonely out in space, So anyway, so they're like, so now Ripley's finally in charge, and she's like, well, screw this. We need to nuke the ship and escape and all that. Ash is like, well, I got a problem with this. So then she has access to the command computer and whatnot and finds out the orders of they're all expendable. They just want the alien. And so Ash attacks her, beats the crap out of her, tries to kill her. Then the crew shows up, says, "Hey, what the hell?" And then knocks his head off. And oh my God, Ash is not a human being. He's an android. So, of course, they hook him up to say, "Hey, what's the deal? Can we kill this thing?" And he's like, "Probably not." So, screw him. So here we go. They're packing their goods and gonna haul ass through the shuttle. Jones really helping out here. And then, oh no, the alien. And that's it for those two guys. And of course, he said, just get out of the way, get out of the way. And he can't shoot it with his flamethrower, you know. So he never really got a chance to put that thing to use, you know, because, well, she panicked and froze because it's really big and scary. So he decides, I know, I'll hit it and make it move. Well, it whoops his ass pretty quick. And oh boy, he tried to be a chivalrous gentleman, you know, and look at the price he paid. So Ripley's hearing all this screaming, you know, so she heads over there to try to help. And whoops, well, yeah, that's gonna stay with her for a while. So she picks up a few cans. She's like, "Oh, I like this punch," and heads back to the shuttle. Well, guess who's hiding in the dark? Yeah. Oh, another one. Oh boy. So he's chasing and chasing. Then she remembers the cat. Oh no. And she goes and gets the cat. And of course, you know, heads back into the shuttle and figures, well, that's it. The whole damn thing. All that valuable stuff. I forget how much they said it was worth. And oh boy, she's still got to work that off, I guess. And she's in the shuttle and everything's fine. So then she decides, you know, to strip down because, well, that's cool. Yeah, there we go. We get a little bit of that. Isn't that nice? And so it's all fine. And then, oh no, wait, there's because there we get to even the Nostromo itself matches up with the alien xenomorph, you know. Okay, not as much as the engineer ship, but still. So of course she doesn't see it until, uh-oh, wait a minute. Those tanks don't have teeth. Oh, crap. So she's got to leap across. Here I am in my undies and everything. And of course, that's when the alien strikes. He's just really perverted. He was sitting there. Thanks for the show, honey. And so she gets her spacesuit on. And, but not just for modesty. No. She's going to shoot the alien out into space because you're pretty tough with your acid blood and all that, and you're strong and stuff. Let's see how you like the vacuum of space, asshole. And, well, he doesn't. He doesn't. Now, here it suggests, see, it's still a fighting survivor, you know, so it's trying to hang on to the ship, you know. And so she's like, oh, yeah. So she blasts it. And, of course, in the movie, we see it's still intact, but it dangles off into space, probably burns up in the atmosphere of the planet and all that, unless it's just in space, because Romulus, they find it all frozen and stuff. So okay, so it's out in space, but here in the comic it's just all in bits and pieces, you know, which probably, but no, in the movie it was still intact, and then Romulus had it in a you know, all frozen and not cased in ice and stuff. So there you go. Alien, the illustrated story, because it's, you know, comic book form. Yeah. So pretty cool. And that's the first comic book take on Alien. Unless you count the Mad Magazine. Now, this is one of the Mad Magazine specials, which includes their parody of Alien and Alien 2, you know, Aliens. So here's, I use the subscription cards for bookmarks, you know. Oh, what the hell happened here? It's whatever. So, no, they don't owe any money to the Alias show because this long predates it, but it is the parody time. And of course, Mort Drucker's artwork absolutely fantastic and captures all the likenesses to the crew here. So they just woke up. They're having breakfast in the living room, the dining room, you know. So they're like, "Ah, crap, we're lost," and all that. Hey, it's the same story. But there they go. It's all pretty hilarious. They list the take on the face hug. So yeah, there's a good scene here. It says, "How's our creepy guest?" You know, meaning the face hugger. You know, and then Ash says, "I'm fine, Ripley." Stuff like that in there. Even the space jockey gets an appearance, and of course they make the joke about heartburn does that kind of damage, and but really good artwork on capturing the look and everything of the film, just with caricature and whatnot. So there they go. Uh, they have the funeral. They even include a headstone, but he's out in space. So, and then, oh no, the creature attacks. Doesn't do a great rendition what the creature looks like. You see, it looks almost more akin to the octopus, only really big. But once again, yeah, Ripley strips down because, hey, that's what happens. A lot of horror movies too, the girl that survives. A lot of them would do that, and of course, we're going to have scenes of her in her panties because that's required. After all that, what else would a woman do? Um, so there they go. They're getting supplies. They've got the shopping cart to get their groceries. But oh no, the alien attacks. There's Ripley fighting with Ash. And then we see Ash on the floor, telling them they're all doomed and all that. So, of course, in this version, turns out her ship is right over Earth. And there goes, she shot the alien out of into space, but no, it's crashing onto Earth. So, oh no, you screwed up. So there you go. Two great comic book takes on the classic film Alien. Uh, what else does it have? Little article here with Don King. But where Aliens was done by this other artist. I'm blanking on his name. I don't know why. Uh, it's embarrassing that I usually have it written in there, but it's all right. But I'm more Mort Drucker fan there. So, Jack Davis. Yeah, Jack Davis is one of the old EC artists. He's a fine artist, but when it comes to these parodies of movies and whatnot, uh, Mort Drucker and Angelo Torres were the go-to guys. But sometimes you need a break or whatever, so they got that. But they cover the sequel pretty good in here. They got some good gags and whatnot. But anyway, there you go. Comic book takes on Alien.